Alright, it's time to talk about DLC character number 2, Asuka, who finally has her proper spelling. This is the spelling that was told to us by Akasaka-san himself, who was the creator of this character, all the way back on Tournament Fighters. She is a character that excels at confirms, and also has a lot of pickups that she can do, involving looping with her specials that we're going to get into. But the most important thing to remember is she still feels like the Asuka you guys know and love. This is one of her different colors. So, just for the sake of argument, let's go back and pick her proper color, yeah? She has 2 command normals, as opposed to Chrome Dome's 1 on the ground. The Chrome Dome also had quite a few of them, so it's not like this is a first. She has her classic slide, and she has her classic butt bump. Now this butt bump allows you to actually press a jumping attack out of it, which allows you to do an overhead, basically, because this first hit is not an overhead. You can do it at any time if your timing is right. Like, you could do a lot of cool stuff like that. And these two things chain into each other, but they're not a combo unless you do it up close. But as you see, she doesn't leave the ground. Asuka has a lot of new animations that were made for her, and allows us to really bring out the creativity of this character, while ignoring the fact that April was based on her sprite-wise because they look so similar from the Genesis Tournament Fighters. And as you can see, her stage is a wee bit different. The Ninja and the Frog, he can just vanish and leave. But we can also see the rest of the stage in general. We got the wind blowing, the cherry blossoms. It's all very fun and neat. So that said, let's get into what she can do. Start with her move list, yeah? So, as you can see, she has the 2 command attacks that we're talking about, and they also tell you how they can cancel into things. She has her classic throw from Tournament Fighters. Her command throw is going to excite a lot of Street Fighter 3 players. It's a very familiar looking throw. And as you can see, her super has a lot of stuff going on that we're going to get into, as do some of her specials. So, she maintains her classic throw that we all remember, and her command grab. Well, yeah. We got that going, and allows you to link after it. So, let's get into her specials. Immediately, the first new special she has is a Shuriken. Now, she throws 3, they go in an arc, and the Omega one goes straight down to allow her to get over projectiles. Why does she need to get over projectiles? Well, it's because her projectiles, they don't clash so good. In fact, they don't clash at all with projectiles. They just lose. Unless she does the Omega, which is her answer to getting out of things. This was done specifically because it allowed me to have multiple projectiles on screen without them being too good. Her second special is her classic Kuchonomai, which is the DP, representing both the American and Japanese version of the move, where it hit 1 time and 2 times specifically. The Omega, she kicks you to the wall, and you have to be very specific with this because, as you can see, they can end up on different sides of the screen, and you have to figure out how to confirm on that. Speaking of movement, she has this classic dash where her hitbox sinks low to the ground, allowing her to get under projectiles and a lot of other attacks. So her mobility is quite high, and the way that she's able to maneuver is also quite fun. Her third special is Hayabusa, the classic attack from Tournament Fighters. However, the hard kick one does this wall kick that restands if you know how to link it just right. Like that. It's a very specific timing, and you really can't even mash it. You can stop this short if you just immediately press hard kick after it hits. This is important for juggles because, as you know, you only get 2 hits. So, if you manage to get that, you get the restand, and you get to do a combo, which is important because of her Omega Hayabusa. For those familiar with Street Fighter 4, a Galactic Tornado EX move specifically sucks you in. If you hold both kicks, she will not do the follow-up attack. Otherwise, she will. What's important to note about this is this move can float the opponent if they try to jump at you, and it can do something specifically with her next special that we're going to get into. But the most important thing of all, it can be looped if you know how and get your timing just right. Her last special, which every kunoichi needs, and ninja of course, is a ninjutsu. She has fire, she has lightning, and she has the Omega, which is her classic tornado. Using Omega Hayabusa, you can turn it around. So she thrives well off a high amount of connecting Omega specials. This is important for her to have quite a like as many as she can. If she has 3, she can deal the most damage out of the game if you combine all the different things she can loop in and out of. Lastly, with her taunt, you can turn her fire into ice, which will restand as well. So the reason that's not really a big deal is because, again, taunts are a full second, and that wastes pretty much all of your Oki if you ever had it. So it's a decision. So let's get into her super. For those familiar with Deadly Raid, this is a very similar in concept because you can start low and end high. You can start high and low. You can go low and stay low. You can start high and high, depending on which super button you press. The first one is always at the beginning, followed by the last hit. As you can see, it was the sweep. Whereas this is the Super 2, which is an overhead, another overhead, and the ending. You can also stop at any time if you want. Now, these leaves have various states of advantage. So the most important one is this knee, because you can keep going. So in many cases, you might be able to get even more damage out of your super by just stopping it short if you know the full combo. But it's important to note, as you saw, that super damage is pretty much done all the way at the end. But her Omega super, it's just a straight up Omega super. But it's one of my favorites because you got the zoom in and she's like teleporting around. I had a lot of fun with that. And then this is her new stage. As I mentioned before, there's a lot more going on with it. The wind will randomly blow. We got Kirby X just chilling here. If you don't know who he is, play the game. So, we've pretty much covered everything about her. She is a character that is all about specific execution and large-scale confirms. If you can figure out how to confirm well enough with her, you may find that she's pretty fun and might be the character for you. She seems very straightforward. She's pretty easy to get into, but she's very interesting to master. Now, let's talk about her tag attacks, because well, it's important to note that I have the most fun with tag. And what this lets me do specifically is her tag attack. It is a fire scroll that she just appears with and explodes in. Pretty fun, yeah? So that's Asuka in a nutshell. She's not quite as execution heavy as Karai, but she's definitely execution heavy nonetheless. And I hope that you guys enjoy playing with her when the final version of this game comes out later this year. See you next time. We have one more character to discuss, and I can't wait to show you. They are incredible.